Hi witches, welcome back to my channel. It's me, your local chaotic witch aunt. And today I am talking about 10 things I wish I knew as a beginner witch. The last video like this I did was when I first started this channel, and I feel like I've changed so much since then that I just I wanted to remake it because I'm just such a different person than I was in 2020 or 2021 when that video came out. It must have been 2020, which is insane that it's almost like it's August of 2023, soon to be ended in 2024. That's wild. But I wanted to kind of go through some things, and I hope that a beginner witch watches this and it helps them, and I hope that a lot of other practitioners who've been doing this for a while share what they wish they knew as a beginner in the comments. But to start off, number one, you will not know everything, and that's okay. To recognize that you will not know everything is to recognize that we are forever students. We are always learning more, and we will never be able to know everything that there is. And that, to me, is the most powerful way of being, is saying, okay, I'm a forever student. Or that we will always be learning and there is no way for one practitioner to know everything. That's going to be different depending on tradition. There are traditions where you hit a certain level of initiation and you do know everything there is to know in specifically your tradition. I'm speaking in a more broad sense where I just wish I knew as a beginner that I didn't need to know everything. I just need to know as much as I could. And I was striving not to necessarily form a coherent practice, but I was striving to just gather as much and read as much knowledge as possible. And while I really loved that approach, I think that it wasn't sustainable long term. And I think that I definitely appreciate that part of myself that was a beginner, but I also think there was a pressure on me and a pressure I was feeling to feel as though I had to have the answers for everything, to feel as though I had to be a part of every discussion, when sometimes you do not, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes it's not appropriate for us to take part in certain discussions, and to say, you know what, this is my lane here and that's someone else's lane, and inserting myself into their lane when I only know minimal information is not appropriate. And so you will not know everything is more along the lines of, you don't have to say everything. You don't have to be a part of every conversation. And you will not know everything goes alongside with, sometimes it's better to sit down and listen. And that's okay. And that's a really important thing in witchcraft, especially in witchcraft spaces that are as diverse and plentiful as YouTube or other social medias, or even your local witchcraft community. 2, you do not have to compete or prove your practice to others. Yeah, this is definitely a byproduct of me being on TikTok, aka Witch Talk, for a really long time. I felt like I had to do similar things to others. I felt like when I did things a certain way and other people did things a different way, and they told me I should try theirs out, it felt like I was wrong or I had to do it. I feel like I had to show or prove that my magic worked to people. I feel like I had to prove that my practice was valid, that what I was doing was okay. When in reality, I knew, and at the beginning it probably was a mess, but I knew that I was going in a direction that felt right to me. I knew I was doing my research. And if I ever wasn't doing my research, the people around me in my community held me accountable. My friends said, hey, actually this instead of this. Once you know your practice, once you become confident in what you're doing, in your magic, that kind of feeling and the feel of you need to prove that stuff is real to other people. You need to prove that your practice is valid to everyone around you, even if they don't deserve it, kind of goes away. It goes away a little. I think that social media really contributes to this, and that's why I wanted to put this in this video, because we are constantly comparing ourselves to each other on social media. In the famous words of Olivia Graves, aka Witch of Wonderlist, comparison is the thief of happiness. And I have struggled for such a long time with comparing my practice, my business, everything I do to other people online. And I think recently I hit a point where I'm like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be different. It's gonna work differently, and that's okay. And I don't have to sit here, and I don't mean prove your practice like if you're appropriating something and someone calls you out on it, you're like, I don't have to prove anything to you. But I think that there is this tendency, and at least with me, there was a tendency to sit here and be like, here's everything that proves that I am a real witch, that my practice is valid, that I'm doing it right, when there is no right way to do things. And when you find a community, when you find teachers, peers, like friends, they'll tell you if you're doing something inappropriate, but most of the time, you don't need to sit here and talk to people who are assholes on the internet and tell them that your practice is actually valid. I did that a lot on TikTok. 3, your practice can completely change and do a 180, and that's okay. Changing your practice or implementing new information as you go does not make you indecisive. It does not make you less powerful. It means that you're changing and your practice changed with you. I gotta open my blinds. And that's, dare I say, normal, healthy, valid. For things to change, and for it to change a lot or even a little, it's not you saying, actually what I did back then was wrong. It's saying, you know what, that wasn't right for me, and I'm a different person, and this feels more right for me. Doing a 180 or admitting a mistake or saying, actually I was wrong about this, even in like terms of knowledge, or like, you know what, I think this is wrong, here's the correct answer, doesn't make you lesser. I think that the witchcraft community and the spiritual community is obsessed with the idea of being right all the time. It is obsessed with the idea that everything has to be perfect and in a box, and when you present it to everyone, it has to be 100% what you believe in for the rest of time. You cannot change. I don't think that's healthy or constructive to a community full of people who are constantly learning from each other and growing, and may find a path that suits them better than the one that they were on when they originally presented it to the internet. And I felt a lot, especially in my practice, as I explored things, as I changed, as I found my way to where I am now. I felt like a lot of people judged me for it, or a lot of people really thought that it made me lesser because I changed my practice, or I changed the way I operated, or they just decided they didn't like me anymore, and that's also very valid. You don't have to like my content. I feel like sometimes when I, changed my opinion or said, you know what, actually I was wrong about this, people were like, well, how do you know what you're even doing then? And I'm like, what? I think there's this false equivalency with a mistake equals you actually don't know what you're doing, because you weren't correct this time. When I think that it's impossible for us to know things that we don't know about, and it takes time to learn and grow, and mistakes are a part of that. 4, simplicity and accessibility are powerful forms of magic in whatever way they take for you. Your rituals do not have to be complex or elaborate to work, nor do they need expensive or hard to find tools. Timing things on certain planetary days, working with particular spirits, or even waiting for a certain moon cycle is perfect enough for a potent spell. All I'm gonna say is this. I know people that if I handed them a name, they would fuck that name up and said, please take care of this. They'd fuck that name up and they wouldn't have to do shit about it. They wouldn't need that much. They need maybe a candle and maybe an herb, maybe a spirit. And I think that the idea that things need to be really complex, and even like timing it, you don't have to time things for them to work. It's fun, it packs a punch, but it's not accessible for everyone, and I forget when the full moon is all the time, so what? Doesn't mean my spells are less powerful. It just means that I'm doing things a different way. And finding out what is accessible for you and what is simple for you and what will work for you may not look like anything that anyone else around you does. That's fine. It doesn't make you a less powerful person, and it doesn't make your spells lesser than. 5, your spells will backfire. And that will be the quickest way you learn. Your spells will backfire, and it will happen. I'm telling you right now. It doesn't mean the world is ending. It means a mistake was made and now you get to clean it up and learn how to clean it up. I know so many practitioners and witches who are so terrified of doing any spell work because they're worried it'll backfire. But genuinely, if you follow the concept of like, I'm not going to cast a spell I don't know how to undo, you will never run into a situation where you can't handle it. And even if you do, there will be a people who you can go to for help. You can text someone, you can talk to someone, especially if you have community. When backfires do happen, those are some of your biggest teachers. You get to sit and say, wow, I f***ed up. How do I unfuck this? Learning how to unfuck things and what you did wrong and how to do it better next time, that is the biggest way we learn. Mistakes are how we learn as people, as witches, and when mistakes happen, you have to give yourself the grace, and the people around you should give yourself the grace of saying, you know what, I didn't know, now I do, here's how I fix it. Here's how I take accountability or apologize or fix it. We are ever-changing souls in human bodies, and we will change as we grow older and our vessels grow older, and that is okay. And it's so fun to change and look back at how far you've come from where you were. And I love that about us as a human race. Teachers, peers, and community are some of the most valuable sources of knowledge. I think that when I was a beginner practitioner, I was searching for community and teachers and peers, but all in the wrong places. I was searching for it in a space where mistakes are not given grace, where things do not last long. On an app that is geared towards short, quick, and appeasing the algorithm, it's difficult to find teachers because the people who are on TikTok, and I'm not just saying witch talk, people who are on TikTok are gearing their videos towards the algorithm. And when you gear your videos towards people, your community, I feel like it doesn't get the same attention. So building community is really hard when the algorithm doesn't actually like the content that will build community. So searching for peers, mentors, teachers, etc. in a space that doesn't foster that doesn't help. It doesn't get you anywhere. But to see someone practice their craft and to share recipes, spells, and even learn directly from people within your tradition, that is magic. It is an honor, it is a privilege to witness someone practicing in action, in person or online, and see them how they work, see what they do. That is the sharing of knowledge in a way that is tangible and real and beautiful in so many ways. And I love it. I mean, you know me, I'm a little slut for community. 7, deity work is not for every practitioner, and that's okay. You don't have to work with a deity. You do not have to. If you start out and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, start with land spirits, start with plant spirits, start with tools. Despite how the online community approaches deity work, you do not need a deity in your practice. This is 100% a choice, and a lot of times it's a commitment. It requires space, it requires altars, it requires a lot depending on the deity. And it's up to you whether you want to do deity work or not. It's 100% your choice. Don't let anyone tell you what you should do or how you should conduct those relationships. If you're interested more in learning how to do deity work or approach it, there's a video that I made that goes really in depth into it and how to kind of approach that situation. You can find it here or here, I don't know which side. 8, practice safe hex. Practice safe hexing and consider whether a baneful work is justified before you choose to do it. I say this as someone who had a hex backfire in their family for 4 years because I did that hex. I got it off the internet. I did it and I didn't think about disposal. I didn't think about the fact that I was doing it in the house. I didn't think about whether or not the person truly deserved it. I just felt so angry and that anger drove me, and that is what happened. A great friend of mine, the Death Witch, I talk about her all the time, asked once and said once, will it matter in 5 years? No, probably not justified. If the answer is yes, it is justified. Now you can approach the idea of what a baneful work will look like. This can change depending on practitioner, but really thinking through hexes instead of willy-nilly casting baneful workings whenever you slightly disagree with someone or are slightly jealous with someone creates a more potent punch. Saying, okay, this is what I want to happen to this person. This is how I want to do it. How do I get there? What is the best method? What is the best time? Also, never hex inside your house. Do it in the backyard. just don't hex in the house. You don't want to where you eat. If you want to hear more about baneful stuff, I did a video with Olivia a while ago about baneful magic. It's probably going to be here or here. I'll also link it down below. It's a great kind of moving into what does baneful work look like, how to approach it. Spending time finding ingredients that will really work is also beneficial. A lot of times those ingredients aren't expensive. Finding ingredients and like allies that will help you with something that will really work and really get a working where you want it to be does not mean they're expensive. 9, accessible ingredients are not lesser ingredients. I'm tired of this take. I've been tired of this take. Full practitioners and magic users throughout history have used materials both outside their door, kitchen cupboard, things that they could find walking down the street to create magic and to create potent spells, potent curing rituals, potent healing. They created medicine, they created magic, they created hexes, they created baneful workings. They got where they needed with what they had around them. Spending more money on ingredients does not automatically mean your spells are better, and spending less money doesn't mean they're lesser. Spending a lot of time shitting on lemon hexes doesn't necessarily mean you're a better person, just means you don't like accessible ingredients. We can not like lemon hexes, we can think they're overused, we can feel like people misunderstand them, but in reality, lemons are a really accessible ingredient that are used in hexes, purifying spells, cleansing, etc. I know a good unbinding and cleansing with a lemon. I know a good spiritual bath with a lemon. I know a good fish recipe with a lemon. They are fantastic. They're very accessible. You can get them at the grocery store. Same with cinnamon. Blow that shit on your door, like Anastasia Moongirl says. Like everything outside my door, I go around my yard and I'm like, what do I have here? I found field bindweed the other day. Let me see. Do I still have it? Yeah. Dried roots of field bindweed. Bindweed is invasive. You can rip up as much as you want. And this is actually covered in cat hair. I'm probably gonna get more. These little weeds are literally like some of the craziest little hexing things because bindweed does exactly what you would think. Binds. It tangles them up. The roots of the plant itself are like spirals, curly, and as they dry, they get more so. And when we kind of use these, you can use them in bindings or in hexes to stop someone from moving towards you. You can use it to tangle them. Bindweed as a plant is one of the most choking plants ever. It'll crawl up another plant and try to choke the life out of it. That is a hex right there. Bindweed is everywhere. And you can just kind of get it. It's not like hemlock where you have to use gloves, which with certain plants you do have to use gloves. Please know which ones you need gloves for and which ones are invasive and which ones are endangered and which ones are native. So on and so forth. 10. It's my favorite one. Treat every tool, plant, spirit, and ingredient you craft with respect. Every ingredient you craft your magic with respect, even if you are not working with that tool, plant, spirit, or ingredient as a really strong ally or all the time, you are calling in them to assist you and giving them respect and recognizing them as an important aspect of your magic. It will change the way your spells work. Seeing plants, tools, ingredients as spirits that you are working with to create something happen, that you are kind of talking to and conjuring and putting your magic into, and they will help you get there. That changes the way your magic works. So you will notice an immediate difference in recognizing even one plant as an ally, as a spirit, and giving it respect, talking to it like a friend, spending a little time connecting with it before you use it in a spell or work with it. Immediate difference. Immediate difference. You just know immediately. And you sit with it. You're like, wow. And then suddenly your spells are kicking ass, throwing punches. You're like, what happened? Respect, baby. Respect your tools, respect your candles, your decks. Invoke them, talk to them, give them offerings, feed them, and they will feed you back. Everything has a spirit. And that's the beauty of witchcraft. Those are my 10 things that I wish I knew as a beginner witch. It's very different from my original video where I'm like, here are the 8 things I wish I knew. But I think that this is a very needed video. I think it's a video that's been coming for a long time. And I'm excited to hear what you wish you knew. Let me know down in the comment section. If you want, you can like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell on, but absolutely no pressure. Remember to drink water. Enjoy the rest of your day. Siate benedetti.